Maine lawmakers are looking to delay for 2 years a referendum on whether to change the state flag. That's according to the Sun Journal. The current law requires Secretary of State Shenna Bellows to come up with a new design for the flag featuring a pine tree and the North Star, and for voters to decide this November whether it should replace the current flag. However, a bill endorsed in committee last week aims to push back the referendum until 2026. It would also establish a 5-member committee to recommend a design to Bellows. The paper reports both the House and Senate need to approve the referendum delay, or Bellows will need to rush to get a design ready for Mainers to vote on this November.